A call from my agent trying to get me a transfer off the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the European Soccer Show. With me, as ever, is the wonderfully employed Leo.
Hey, Daniel, how are you?
I am very good. I'm in an excellent mood. I am very full of birthday cake, so my spirits are high.
Excellent.
Is it my birthday cake? No. Right. Okay. So a small child who left it at my flat. So
friend
of mine.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to that small child who came to visit with their family and forgot their cake.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, on that note, let's delve right into the Premier League, shall we? 1 minute into the show, and we are on topic. And it was, well, you ever heard the expression that 2-goal lead is a dangerous lead?
I didn't.
Well, yes, it's quite an infamous storyline in English football. Like, it's a dangerous lead, 2 goals, and it proved in the Premier League this time round. So on Saturday, we started with Brighton and Everton drawing 1-1, with Beto scoring an equaliser with the last kick of the game for Everton. Leeds United hosted Arsenal. The anxiety-ridden Arsenal fans, could they bear another bad defeat? Well, no, because they won 4-0. They won 4-0 at Leeds United. Goals through Zubamendi, Madueke, Gyökeres, and Gabriel Jesus. Wolverhampton Wanderers continue to do what they're doing, losing 2-0 at home against Bournemouth, who are slightly resurgent in recent weeks. West Ham United, they threw away a 2-goal lead at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea came from 2 goals behind to win 3-2 against the relegation-threatened Irons. Liverpool also came from behind to defeat Newcastle United 4-1 at Anfield. Then on Sunday, Aston Villa appears their title challenge is effectively over, losing their second home game in a row at home against Brentford, 1-0, despite the fact Brentford were down to 10 men for the entire second half. Manchester United also threw a 2-goal lead away at home against Fulham, but managed to squeeze a victory nonetheless, defeating them 3-2 with a Benjamin Šeško goal deep into stoppage time. Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace drew 1-1. Forest had a man sent off at the very end of the first half, and then the second half, absolutely no shots on target, so we will not be talking about that match. And Manchester City also threw away a 2-goal lead. They drew 2-2 at Tottenham Hotspur, with Tottenham Hotspur goals coming from Dominic Solanke, with the second being a delicate little scorpion kick. And last night, Sunderland defeated Burnley 3-0. But we don't need to talk about that. So we should probably start at the top of the table. Top of the table, Arsenal. Quick word on them. Considering recent weeks, a couple of stodgy results, a couple of worrying moments, but this was a resounding victory and just calms the nerves.
Yeah. As you said, it was an important victory because they hadn't won a single games in the last 3. And given their rivals' results, this result counts double or triple. It's perfect for them. It's not easy to play at Ellen Road, where this season Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Newcastle, I think they all have come unstuck there. So it was a good victory, even though I don't think it was an impressive one, despite the 4-0 result. But it makes Arsenal closer to the title.
Well, as has been the rest of the season, Arsenal were relying heavily on set pieces. I think 3 of the goals came from set pieces or post set piece play. But at the same time, Arsenal, or rather not the same time, the day before on Saturday. On Sunday, Manchester City, in an attempt to keep pace with the league leaders, took a 2-goal lead against Tottenham Hotspur, 2-goal lead at half-time. We got a question from Maggie. Are you like a television host, Daniel? No, I don't get paid nearly enough to do that. I am a host. But you know what?
The best host in town.
Well, not saying much. I'm living in a very small place. Yes. Well, thank you very much. I'll put that on my CV as a reference. Yes. So Manchester City took a 2-goal lead against Tottenham Hotspur with goals from Ryan Cherki and Antoine Semenyo. completely in control against the downtrodden, downbeat Tottenham Hotspur, and yet somehow Spurs came from behind to draw 2-2. Considering all the conversation about Arsenal's mentality and do they have the strength of character to see the title through, Manchester City seem to have gotten a bit of an easy ride because in the last 6 matches they only have 1 victory. So should there be more criticism towards Manchester City? Because it did feel like they very much threw this one away and allowed Tottenham into the game.
Yeah, watching the game, it was incredible to see City so in control and so well in the first half, and then totally collapse in the second. The scenario is like they maybe have lost the title at Tottenham this weekend. Even if I think we should put a bet in this in the analysis of this game, because I do think the Solanke's first goal should have not been allowed, because in my opinion he is he made a fool on Marguerite's ankle, but in the end Tottenham's reaction is worth nothing.
Absolutely.
I don't know what you think about that.
And, well, you make a good point. Also, in the analysis afterwards on Say Match of the Day, they made the very good point of they feel like it should be a goal, but also the flip of that is there are so many penalties given against defenders where an attacker has done the exact same thing, got their foot in the way, the defender's kicked the foot, and then that's given as a penalty. What they were arguing was that shouldn't be a penalty. The goal that happened should be a goal because he's sort of put his foot in the way as opposed to made the tackle or completed the tackle or be in control of the ball or anything like that. But likewise, we should stop giving penalties when it's the other way around. That was their point.
Yeah.
But also, but credit where credit's due for Tottenham Hotspur. The second goal was something a little bit tasty. A scorpion kick is always a little bit unusual. But the momentum really built for Spurs, and it did seem to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think it was because of Manchester City, because they were leading 2-0. During the first half, at the break, if the score was to be like 3-0 or 4-1, I don't think it should have been something undeserved for Manchester City. But then between the 45th and the 75th or 80th minute, they totally lost the game. I don't know why. I can't explain, but
I mean, it's supposed to. You could probably argue it's complacency, considering a lot of it is sort of keeping the ball low tempo. Yeah, it felt like they were in control until they weren't. Let's move on to Manchester United, who likewise seemed completely in control. Well, more or less. They had a 2-goal lead, and then with 5 minutes of regular time to go, Harry Maguire concedes a penalty, which Jimenez converted, also breaking Yaya Touré's for the most successful run of penalties in the Premier League. So 12 out of 12 for Jimenez. But then Kevin scored an absolute screamer in stoppage time to level things up. But this is not quite the same Manchester United as a month or so ago. You feel like then they would have folded, then they would have sort of like heads down. This time round, there just seems to be a bit more about them. And as I said before, Benjamin Šeško got the winning goal deep into stoppage time. There does seem to be a different feel. I mean, it does feel very much like vibes, doesn't it, this team, as opposed to anything else?
Yeah, I think Michael Carrick has brought something to the team. It's no coincidence that at the moment Manchester United have been the best team in the Premier League over the last five games. I took a look at the statistics and points earned, and they earned 11 points during this period. So, yeah, it's no coincidence that they are capable of winning this kind of games in the Fergie time, maybe now the Carrick time. But yeah, they seem to have regained a winning mentality, and which is not funny, but which is good with Carrick, is that he remains unbeaten on the United bench, because if you remember his first spell, he didn't lose two.
Yeah, I seem to remember he won 3 and drew 1. So I think that's 7 matches he's been in charge of, and he's won 6 of them. So it's pretty brilliant record. So just to look at the table before we move on, we'll have a quick word on Liverpool as well, defeating Newcastle. So Arsenal 6 points ahead of Manchester City, and 7 points ahead of Aston Villa. Villa, we've discussed before about the fact that they've consistently overperformed their XG during the season, relying on a lot of long shots and screamers to see out the victories and to find these magical moments. It just feels the last couple of games, 2 home defeats in a row against teams they really probably should be beating at home. It feels like now it's coming unstuck, particularly against the Brentford side, who defended incredibly, down to 10 men for the entire second half, and yet barely let a shot on target.
Yeah, but if we are honest about this game, I think Aston Villa should have won it. Because of all the occasions they got. They were very unlucky, but as you said, credit to Brentford for their defensive display. And it's not usual to beat Villa at Villa Park. It's a superb result for Brentford, who now sits 7 in the league, with only 3 points behind Liverpool. They can aim to a European qualification at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. And as well, I should probably point out at the part of my argument with Aston Villa was like, if they keep overperforming their XG today, in this match, I think they registered nearly 2.5 XG and didn't score. So probably just a sense of like balancing the numbers almost. Looking down at the bottom. So obviously Wolves, Burnley very much cut adrift now. West Ham United had the chance, almost did something fantastic against Chelsea. But it was a wonderful comeback. Lee Rosenior could be criticised for his lineup because, of course, the first half display for Chelsea was terrible and allowed West Ham United a 2-goal lead. But if he's going to be criticised for the first half, you have to give him huge credit for making the changes at half time, which completely altered the match.
Yeah, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 3 of his substitutions were free scorers in the second half for Chelsea. It was the first time that Chelsea conceded 2 goals in the first half and then turned around the game in their Premier League history. So they showed a significant mental strength. Rosenior's coaching paid off, giving him his 6th win in 7 games. So impressive, especially since he experienced some troubles in France in the first half of the seasons with Strasbourg, especially against big teams. So yeah, great for Chelsea. Even if I still think that Manchester United, with the fact that they don't have any other competitions to play, they are in good position to be 4th in the league at the end of the season.
Well, yeah, it does seem more like if the top 3 remain as they are, which is expected, then it does feel like Man United, Chelsea, and Liverpool are all fighting for those 2 last Champions League spaces. And a 6-point gap between West Ham and safety, 6 points behind Leeds United and Nottingham Forest. Two victories and worse goal difference. Big stuff for West Ham to approach. Right, moving on to Serie A, Italia. Here we come. So on Friday, an astonishing match between Lazio and Genoa. Lazio also threw away a 2-goal lead, and it was 2-2. But Lazio got a 3rd goal 10 minutes into stoppage time. A penalty through Cataldi gave them the 3-2 victory. On Saturday, Pisa lost at home to Sassuolo 3-1. Napoli finally put aside their poor form to defeat Fiorentina 2-1 in Naples. Cagliari's ridiculous good form continues. They defeated Hellas Verona 4-0 to lessen their concerns about relegation. On Sunday, a lot of clean sheets. We had Torino 1, Lecce 0. Che Adams there with the only goal. Como 0, Atalanta 0. Atalanta had a man sent off in just the 8th minute. And yet Como, despite 28 shots and nearly 80% possession, could not find a way through.
And the last-minute penalty also.
Oh, of course,
from
Nico
Pat, yeah.
Forgot about that. Oy. And that was real. Anyway, Cremonese 0, Inter 2. Inter just again strolling along, twirling a cane. Goals from Lautaro Martinez and Zielinski. Possibly the most fun game of the weekend. Perhaps Lazio, apart from Lazio. Parma 1, Juventus 4. Juventus are suddenly a free-scoring team. A couple of goals from Bremer, one from McKennie, one from Jonathan David. And on Monday, Udinese defeated Roma 1-0. Roma once again looking toothless. And Bologna AC Milan is tonight. So, quick look at... we'll look at the table briefly. So, Inter are 8 points ahead, but of course AC Milan have a game in hand. Napoli and Juve are keeping pace. It felt really important for Napoli to find this victory because things have just gotten a little bit pessimistic of late, and their form has been poor. The injuries have been piling up, so it felt really important to get back on track.
Yeah, as you said, it was really important, especially since Juventus are in very good form at the moment. But they key to win this one, to stay in touch with AC Milan, who are playing tonight against Bologna, isn't it?
I just said it, so it's nice to know you're listening.
So yeah, it was an important victory for Napoli, and they stay on the podium thanks to it.
Absolutely. Roma had the opportunity to keep pace with Napoli and Juventus, but losing at Udinese. It's the same old story for the rest since the start of the season, right? Roma just do not score enough goals. It's fine if they're keeping clean sheets, which they haven't done for a while now, for a good couple of months.
Yeah, if you compare to the teams surrounding them, you can see that Roma are the worst attacking team in the top 7 with only 27 goals scored. Even if they don't consider a lot in football, you need to score to win these games. So yeah, it's a problem for them. And they are now 8 defeats in the season, which is obviously too much to have hoped for the title.
Do you think Atalanta get enough credit? Because, of course, they had such a miserable start to the season, but they've turned it around. In the last 6 games, they have the second best form in the last 6 games. They've picked up 14 points, and there's now a significant gap between them and Bologna in 8th place. So it does feel like Atalanta somehow are going to earn themselves European football despite that start to the season. Do you think they get enough credit? Because again, this performance at Como, had they won, would have moved into 5th place. Yeah. So it was a hell of a defensive performance, but they are showing real character and determination. And of course, they've just lost Ademola Lookman to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I look forward to see what they will do without Ademola Lookman, given the fact that he was one of their best players for years now. So interesting to see, but yeah, you have to give credit to Atalanta, especially since they have changed the way they play, because Gasperini, of course, he went to Roma, so it's a brand new way of playing. They had not a difficult start to the season, but a mixed result at the start of the season. But they achieved to turn the thing around. So yeah, the 7th place is a good result for them.
Well, speaking of having turned it around, a word on Juventus, because of course they did have that blip about 6-7 weeks ago where they were clearly no longer in the title race, and they weren't scoring. None of the strikers were in form, and suddenly they can't stop scoring. They look really entertaining, and they are attacking with a lot of in a lot of different ways. It's like a creatively fluid system.
Yeah, I don't think there is another team than AC Milan that can battle for the title with Inter. The game tonight's game for them will be extremely important because if they lost, I think the title race will be sealed. But Juventus, as you mentioned, they have turned things around, and Jonathan David incarnates perfectly that because he had a very difficult start to the season, not scoring, not assisting, and he has been doing very, very well for several weeks now. It was decisive twice again this weekend. I think Juve will step up and finish on the podium. If you take a look at their last 10 games, they have been in sparkling form, yeah, but because they have only conceded 4 goals in their last 10 games. But as you mentioned, they scored 22, which is obviously impressive.
Very un-Juve. Looking at the bottom of the table, the bottom 7 all lost, so it's as we were from the previous week. But it goes back to a point you made last week, I think it was, where you said in the previous 6 matches of all those teams combined, so that's 36 matches combined, there have only been 3 victories. 2 were for Fiorentina and 1 was for Parma. So it does feel very much like the bottom 6 are set. I say the bottom 6, Genoa. So at the bottom, you've got Hellas Verona and Pisa on 14, Fiorentina on 17, Lecce on 18, and then you've got a big gap between them and Parma on 23, and Cremonese and Genoa all on 23. But Genoa, unlike the others, have built a bit of momentum. They've had 9 points in the last 6 matches, so a couple of victories, some good performances, whereas everybody else seems to be free-falling. Lecce, only 1 point in their last 7 matches. Cremonese, only 2 points in the last 8. It's it does very much feel like if you can win 1 match out of 4 or 5, that might be enough.
Yeah, but I think the race to stay up will be played between the 4 only the 4 last teams in the rankings, so from Lecce to Verona, because between Parma and Lecce there is a 5-point gap, which is quite big at this stage of the season.
Yeah,
especially
of course.
since
and you have to allow the fact that Lecce, like you assume, like Lecce have to win twice.
Yeah,
to catch up.
That's the point, and none of the teams behind Parma seem to be ready to win these games. So I think it will be a tense.
But let's end Serie A on a positive. So Inter have the longest winning run in the league. That's 4 wins in a row. Who's second?
In terms of winning
run. I'll give you a clue. It's a team that was threatened with relegation but isn't anymore.
I don't
3 wins. Cagliari have just won their 3rd match on the bounce with that 4-0 victory over Hellas Verona. And in doing so, they went from 17th on the edge of relegation and they're now comfortably mid-table. Again, it's astonishing that level of that bounce. But I just wanted a little word on Cagliari, who have very much saved their season. And now they can sort of relax and breathe. Okay, let's bounce off. Speaking of which, let's bounce off to the Bundesliga. So let's say hello to there. So on Friday, tight match between Köln and Wolfsburg, with Köln winning 1-0. On Saturday, Augsburg came from a goal down to win against St. Pauli, 2-1 at home. Frankfurt conceded yet another 3 goals, losing at home 3-1 against Bayer Leverkusen. Frankfurt also had a man sent off in the second half. Hoffenheim, the march continues. I think that's 5 wins in a row in the league for Hoffenheim, winning 3-1 at home to Union Berlin to solidify their place in 3rd in the table. RB Leipzig lost at home to Mainz. Mainz actually came from behind to win 2-1 in Leipzig. Mainz, incredible turnaround as well for the relegation threatened side. Werder Bremen won, Borussia Mönchengladbach won. Mönchengladbach were actually winning until the 4th minute of stoppage time, where Top managed to equalise for Bremen. And then the last game on Saturday was Hamburger 2, Bayern 2. Hamburger took the lead through Fabio Vieira penalty before Harry Kane equalised. Luis Diaz scored within seconds of the restarts before a late equaliser for Hamburg. And on Sunday, Stuttgart defeated Freiburg 1-0. Demirovic getting the winning goal with the last minute of regular time. And probably the game of the weekend, Borussia Dortmund 3, Heidenheim 2. This is a fantastic match going back and forth, but 2 late Giroud goals gave the victory to Dortmund. Just. So I have a big question for you for the Bundesliga. So looking at the table, Bayern are on 51, Borussia Dortmund are on 45, 6-point gap. But for the first time, Bayern have actually dropped points in a row. So they've only got 1 point from their last 2 games, in which Dortmund have won both their matches. So they've closed the gap to 6 points. So my question is this. Could this actually be a title challenge? Dortmund have only lost 1 match this season. That was Bayern's first, as last week as well. So 6 points. It's just 6 points. Whereas before it was about 11. This is doable now for Dortmund, if they can find consistency.
To be honest, it's a good question, but I don't think Bayern will let the title go like that. Because firstly, they have 6, as you mentioned, they are 6 points clear to Dortmund, but they are also 1 point. We can consider that they have 1 point more because of the goal difference, which is obviously important. The thing is that they will play Dortmund in the, I don't know when, but in the next few weeks. So it will be important for them to win, because if they beat Dortmund, I think that's it. The title will be decided, and I think Dortmund, as usual, they can drop points against weaker opponents. This weekend, they have won against Heidenheim, but they could have conceded the draw on the last seconds of the game. The good thing is that Guirassy finally scored in 2026. He even missed a hat trick after missing a penalty, but I don't really think Bayern will lose the title.
Well, it might not be to Dortmund; it might be to Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim, who, like I said, 5 wins in a row. They're up to third. They're now 9 points behind Bayern. Obviously, bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But an incredible run from them. But I suppose, like I said, Dortmund have gained 4 points in the last 2 matches, 5 wins out of the last 6. It's obviously it's a bit of a stretch. But having said that, Hoffenheim, like I say, solidifying their place in third. They're now 3 points ahead of Stuttgart with a better goal difference. They are 6 points ahead of 5th position. It does feel like Hoffenheim may well have just shoved other teams out to fight amongst themselves for the last. It seems like they have very much wedged themselves into third place as opposed to just being in the conversation. They are now the front runners of Champions League football.
Yeah, they are having an incredible season, really incredible. They registered their 13th victory of the seasons this weekend. So it's already 6 more than last season when they finished 15th in the rankings. They have the second best attack in Bundesliga. They have only conceded 23 goals, which is obviously a good result for them. They didn't spend a lot in the summer transfer window, only 20 or between 20 and 22 millions, but they targeted the players they needed, and it seems to pay off for them. So incredible season, and cheers to Hoffenheim for what they are doing.
A word on Frankfurt as well, who are yet to win this year. 0 wins in 7, I believe it is. But not only that, they have the joint worst defense in the league. They've conceded 45 goals, which is the same as Heidenheim in last place. And that's not including all the goals they conceded in the Champions League, which is a lot.
Too much.
Yeah, it seems like they are very much in free fall. They've only had 3 points in the last 7 matches, and all of which were draws. And they're now 8 points behind Bayer Leverkusen, completely out of the conversation for Champions League, and may well soon be out of the conversation for Europe at all.
Yeah, you've mentioned Bayer Leverkusen. I think that with that victory on against Frankfurt, they have virtually secured their spot in the top 6.
Because that was an opportunity for Frankfurt, wasn't it? At the time,
Yeah,
Frankfurt
it was.
were 5 points behind. So had Frankfurt won that, it would have been 2, and suddenly that's the thing. But now it's 5 points, losing at home against Leverkusen, and a Leverkusen that weren't in terrific form.
No.
Yeah, it was such a missed opportunity, and now they're behind Freiburg as well.
Yeah, even for Freiburg, who could have climbed, who could have come 5 points.
They lost at Stuttgart, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is that Leverkusen also have a game in hand compared to Freiburg and Frankfurt. So it's 3 possible, 3 more points that they can win against Hamburg, who are not in the top form this season. So they could be 11 points clear from the 7th place, which in Bundesliga.
Before we move off from the Bundesliga, I'd also like to talk about Mainz. So again, for those who don't remember, Mainz were at the foot of the table for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
Since the turn of the year, they've won 3 games out of 4. They're still in the relegation playoff position, but they have doubled their points tally. So they went from 9 to 18 in just a few weeks. And they're now 1 point behind Werder Bremen, Wolfsburg, Hamburg, and only 3 points behind Borussia Mönchengladbach, who, despite pulling away from danger, are drawn right back in it. It's an insane turnaround for Mainz. They were completely written off, and it's been really impressive. They also got an astonishing point against Bayern as well. Yeah. So, these are some really impressive performances. Away at Leipzig as well.
Yeah, they are currently the 5th best team in Bundesliga on the last 5 games, and they have made the big coup of the weekend because all of their rivals to stay up lost or drawn. So they now have a gap between them and St. Pauli. Just under them, and they are closing the ones which separates them from the safety zone. Bremen, Wolfsburg, and even HSV were just one point clear from them. So it's a great coup for them this weekend, especially as you said at Leipzig.
Mm. Right, we're going to leave that there and go over to Spain with La Liga. And genuinely, very interesting weekend in regards to narrative and things like that at risk. On Friday, Espanyol's season seems to be really falling apart. Well, relatively speaking, losing at home against Alaves. Alaves came from a goal down to win 2-1 at Espanyol. On Saturday, Real Oviedo, my God, they scored and they won 1-0 at home to Girona. In fact, they limited Girona to just a single shot on target, so an excellent defensive performance from Oviedo. Keeps them bottom, though, sadly. Fantastic match between Osasuna and Villarreal, ending 2-2. Levante drew 0-0 with Atletico Madrid. Dire. That's it. That's the only one. And Elche 1, Barcelona 3. Barcelona getting a good result against Elche. Goals from Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, and Marcus Rashford. Then on Sunday, Real Madrid really laboured to a victory over Rayo Vallecano 2-1 with goals from Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe, a penalty in the 10th minute of stoppage time, despite Rayo Vallecano having a man sent off with 10 minutes to go. Real Betis defeated Valencia 2-1. They came from a goal down to win that. Getafe 0, Celta Vigo 0. 3 shots on target combined for both teams. So again, we will not be talking about that.
Great game, yeah.
Great defensive thing. Yes. And Athletic Club 1, Real Sociedad 1. Sociedad were leading through Gonzalo Guedes. but had a man sent off, Mendes, I believe it was, and Atletico managed to score an equaliser in the last minute of regular time. And last night, Mallorca, very impressive in the victory over Sevilla, 4-1. So let's look at the top two first of all. Barcelona, fairly straightforward victory over Elche. Got some game time for some people that need to be caught up. Yeah, fairly easy, especially compared to Real Madrid.
Yeah, fairly easy. They created 13 big chances during this game. They had a total of 6.4 or 6.5 expected goals. So it shows how they dominated it. And they have only scored 3 goals, but they could have scored more, especially Ferran Torres. He had a lot of chances, but he lacked of efficiency. But the thing is that with this victory, especially at Elche, even if they are experiencing a bad form at the moment, it's never easy to win there. So they keep the lead in La Liga, and a good operation.
I was about to say Elche now only 2 points ahead of relegation zone, but then the rest of the league are only 2 points ahead of relegation.
Yeah.
Real Madrid. Every match that goes by, it seems the decision to sack Xabi Alonso seems more and more poor. It seems like a very poor poor decision, simply because, I mean, getting knocked out of the Copa del Rey to a low league team, losing that match against Benfica in the way they did, and also then having to go through the playoffs. Having to play those 2 extra matches against, is it Benfica again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Having to play those 2 extra matches while Barcelona through automatically, that can make the difference in the title race.
Yeah, that can. Yeah. But contrary to Barcelona, they will not play in the Copa del Rey if we want to. But Barcelona will play tonight against Albacete, I think.
The team that knocked Real Madrid out.
But yeah, it was a somewhat labeled victory for Real Madrid, who took advantage on another penalty from Kylian Mbappe. I don't know how many penalties he scored this season, but it's extraordinary.
It's one of those where you can't, because obviously there's a whole thing about Real Madrid saying, "Oh, we don't get the rub of the green with referees. Really have a problem with us. We don't get enough penalties." And do you know how many penalties you get?
It should come to Premier League to break Jimenez.
So again, like I say, it was Vinicius Junior got the only goal of the first half before Rayo Vallecano equalised within 5 minutes of the restart. And then things just became sort of stodgy and pinned down, and Real Madrid looked so lacking of creativity and intensity and anything like that. And it took until Rayo Vallecano had a man sent off with 10 minutes to go. I think it was Cis, straight red with 10 minutes to go. And even then, it took 10 minutes of stoppage time before Real Madrid got a penalty and then converted it. And there was still time for Rayo Vallecano to have another man sent off in the 13th minute of stoppage time. So a slightly chaotic end to the game, but this was not an earned victory. This was a bit lucky.
I would say that if you look at the second red card for Rayo Vallecano, it's inexcusable from I don't remember the name of the defender, but
I think I've got it written down somewhere, Chavarria or something like that.
Okay, but doing that kind of fool in the box in the dying seconds, it's a kind of professional here, because it was just a dirty fool. So
yeah, but of course the Rayo Vallecano now in the relegation zone again. Anybody could be at this rate, but they are currently so there is an element of desperation about it as well.
Yeah, and because of Mallorca's win last night, because they won 3 points and put Rayo Vallecano in the.
Well, actually, let's talk about Mallorca, because Mallorca, again, that's 2 wins from the last 3 matches, which has taken them out of the relegation zone and up to like 14th, I think.
Yeah,
that's how quickly another victory and they'll be challenging for Europe. It's that kind of league. So the bottom of the table, Oviedo on 16, Levante on 18, but they have a game in hand. Then you got the gap between them and Rayo Vallecano on 22. On 23, Getafe with no wins in the last 7 matches. Valencia. Sevilla are on 24, as are Mallorca, as are Elche. Girona are on 25, as are Athletic Club, as are Alaves. And on 26 is Osasuna. Osasuna have had 3 victories in the last 6 matches, which is insane as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like if you can get 2 wins. Well, actually, I was going to say if you get 2 wins, you can be challenging for Europe. But it's also the situation where because all these teams are defeating each other, there's a lot of bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, we've been discussing Serie A's race to stay up, but the one in La Liga is exceptional because if you take Rayo Vallecano and Real Sociedad, there are only 6 points between them, and Real Sociedad are 8th in the league. Vallecano are 18th, so it's extremely tight, and it's good for the league, I think.
I should say, so Real Sociedad are in 8th place. They're undefeated in 6 matches, which is good for them. They've got 3 victories and 3 draws in that time. They are 6 points ahead of the relegation zone, and they are 8th. So again, that sort of puts into context what a couple of victories will do, quite literally. A small word on like teams like Villarreal, who are winless in the last 3. Espanyol are actually winless in the last 5. Not a great start to the year for them. So these teams are fine. It feels like reality is kicking in a little bit, but it shouldn't disguise the fact they're having a terrific season. But if they're not careful, they actually might lose some of the things they've earned in regards to either Champions League places or European football.
As you said, they are experiencing a really great season, but of course it becomes difficult for them to keep the pace of the big. I don't want to say big 3 because Atletico, they drawn against 19th placed Retafe this weekend, a nil-nil.
Levante.
So Levante. Yeah, sorry. So it's only the big 2, but because we were talking about can Villarreal fight for the title a few weeks ago, and it seems that they can't, and it's quite logical when you think about it, and especially since you can take a look at their results in Europa, in the Champions League. So it's logical, but now they have a game in hand. If they
against Levante, we should say. Yeah. So if they win that, they go 3rd.
Yeah, they go 3rd.
They're still 7 points ahead of Real Betis in 5th. So chances they're still in pole position for Champions League football, which would be a terrific season.
Yeah, and if they are to finish on the podium, it would be extraordinary for them.
Yeah, 3rd place definitely up for grabs for several teams. Right. Well, let's thank you for La Liga. And finally, we will go over to League. League. I don't know how many other ways I can pronounce that.
League.
Okay, so Lens doing what Lens does best, winning 1-0 at home. 1-0 at home against Le Havre. Aguilla with the only goal in stoppage time for the first half. On Saturday, Marseille threw a 2-goal lead away. See, there's a theme this week. Marseille had the lead, 2-goal lead from Mason Greenwood and Aubameyang, but with only 10 minutes to go, Paris FC turned it around. Goals from Kone and Cabal. Penalty in the 4th minute of stoppage time. Lorient, the dark horses for European football, perhaps, discussion point. They defeated Nantes 2-1 with a goal in the last minute of regular time. Monaco got their first victory in, I think it's 7 matches, defeating Rennes 4-0. 6th place Rennes getting destroyed by the mighty Monaco. And on Sunday, Lyon. How many wins in a row is it now?
Sorry?
How many wins in a row for Lyon was this? 10 wins in a row in all competitions, although 3 of those were the French Cup, but that doesn't really count. Lyon 1, Lille 0. Lyon 1, Lille 0. Zero, sorry. New point. Note getting the only goal there. Angers defeating Metz 1-0. Nice and Brest, a pair each, but obviously that would be for Brest. Toulouse 0, Auxerre 2-0, and Strasbourg against Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain defeating Strasbourg 2-1 in Strasbourg. Good result there. Paris Saint-Germain actually was down to 10 men. Let's talk about that match quickly. So, real test for Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously disappointment in midweek because they will be in the playoff round in the Champions League. Although another easy draw, another all-French draw, just like last year, where they got Brest, and this year they got Monaco. Although, of course, Monaco being one of the teams that beat them this year. Paris Saint-Germain took the lead through Mayulu. And then the other Doué scored, equalising for Strasbourg. But then with 15 minutes left, Achraf Hakimi was sent off before Nuno Mendes managed to find the winning goal with 2 minutes left. This is a real test for Paris Saint-Germain. Do you think, what's the overriding feeling for Paris Saint-Germain, do you think, for this? Is it a well-earned win, showing grit and determination, or actually are the cracks slightly there, considering Hakimi was shown a straight red and they really were, again, slightly fortunate to find the victory from there?
Firstly, Strasbourg played very well in the first half. The fact that it was a draw at half time was really I wouldn't say lucky for PSG, but it was not really deserved in a sense. But they played better in the second half because Strasbourg lacked intensity. The intensity they put in the first half.
Sorry, I always forget this. We should say Gary O'Neill's Strasbourg.
Yeah, Gary O'Neill's Strasbourg, and he's been doing great since arriving in France. But Paris, as you mentioned, they lost Hakimi, who was sent off. And he will not be playing Le Classique against Marseille.
Is he banned for 3 matches because it's a straight red?
Oh, I don't know if it's 3 or 2, 2 or 3. The commission will be tomorrow, so we will know it better. But I think it could be between 2 and 3. But to be honest, PSG, they worry me a little because they seem to be really tired on the pitch. I feel that any team that imposes them an intense style of play, they can manage to throw them off balance. So I look forward to see what they can do in the Champions League. When
case in point, because obviously their result against Newcastle midweek was quite disappointing, and Newcastle actually really could have won that in the last few minutes. So Paris Saint-Germain knocking themselves, but then we said this last year, didn't we? Yeah. Can't remember what happened. So Lens, another single goal victory at home. They seem to have this doubt, like it feels like they I'll reword this. It feels like they've done this before. You know, the idea of like, okay, we only needed 1 goal victory. It's fine. So like not wasting too much energy, not having to chase games. Quite often they take a lead and they control it and they end up confirming the victory. It doesn't feel like an inexperienced team or this is new. It feels like they've done this before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they seem in control of what they want to do. This win, against Le Havre was a narrow victory, but important one, given that PSG had took back the lead in the rankings. So it was important for them to win. And given the fact that there will be the Classic this weekend, they maybe can took back the lead to PSG if Marseille were to do something.
As we should probably say as well, Paris Saint-Germain's goal difference means that if it's a draw at the Classique, then they're tied, and that'd be very fun. But Paris Saint-Germain still be ahead.
There will be a Lens PSG also in the coming weeks.
Oh, it's very exciting. Another 1-0 victory for Lens, please. Big win for Lyon. 1-0 victory over Lille. So 4th place Lyon playing 5th place Lille. 4 points separated them, sorry. And Lyon's victory means that's 5 wins in a row in the league, 10 in all competitions, and a 7-point gap over Lille. But perhaps more importantly, they've caught Marseille. So that fight now for third place is on. Marseille throwing away 2-goal lead at Paris FC. Lyon sniff a bit of an opportunity here, don't they?
Yeah, it was a great result once again, because we will not talk about that every week. But when you take a look back at the summer Lyon experienced, it's so unexpected for them to fight for the Champions League spot, to lead in the Europa League, to be qualified in the Coupe de France. So impressive win, despite the fact that they didn't play particularly well against Lille. But now they are 7 points ahead of Lille, and they closed the gap to Marseille, and they will play Marseille in March. So it will be very interesting. And Lyon will play in the next 2 weeks. They will play against Nantes and Nice. So if Marseille were to lose against PSG, and I think they will play Strasbourg, another good team, in 2 weeks, they could even go third.
It's very interesting. So let's go from Lille down, because I was going to say not much point looking at the relegation, because there is a big gap opening up now. So like Metz 12, Auxerre 13, Nantes 14 in the playoff position, and then 6-point gap between them and Le Havre. So it does feel like relegation is setting in. So Lille are 5th on 32. Rennes have 31. Then you got Strasbourg and Toulouse on 30. Toulouse have really shot up out of nowhere as well. I think that's 4 victories in the last 6. But I want to talk about Lorient. So Lorient are only 4 points behind Lille in 5th place. They're undefeated in 6 matches. That's 4 victories and 2 draws. So teams like Lorient and Toulouse, it feels like they have the momentum going to this part of the season, and they could potentially gate crash a European spot, pushing, well, considering Monaco have dropped out and are not getting there. It feels like there's an opportunity for 1 or 2 of these teams to actually sneak into European football.
I think Lorient are having an extraordinary...
They're one of the promoted sides, right?
Yeah, they are promoted this season. They are now on 11th games unbeaten. In
Is that
France,
many?
including Coupe de France.
And they don't count. Sorry, I just...
Yeah, but it's extraordinary for this team. I don't know if they can reach a European spot. To be honest, I don't think so. But
for context, they are 2 points behind Strasbourg, who occupy... No, sorry, 3 points behind Rennes, who occupy the last European spot in France. So only 3 points in it.
Yeah, but I think their squad isn't good. Not good, but I don't have the too big, too large enough to compete with the stalwart in Ligue 1.
Of course. I was also
extraordinary run of form.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, perhaps one of those things that could lend itself to a cup run, because considering Paris Saint-Germain have been knocked out, and if you could put together a bit of momentum, what we could see what happened last year. We had that glorious year of all these different cup winners, apart from Paris Saint-Germain, being teams like Stuttgart, like Bologna,
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it can happen again. Right, so let's bid adieu there to Ligue 1 and move on to the things we may have missed. What may I have missed, Leo?
You may have missed that Thun in Switzerland beat Basel this week, and you will ask, why is it important? Can you ask me?
Why is it important?
Because last season's Thun were winning the Swiss second division, and they are now currently leading the first division by 9 points over Lugano. So they could therefore win 2 consecutive leagues in a row and claim their first ever top flight championship.
Has that ever
which
happened?
is
I can't think of a single league where that's ever happened. A promoted team then winning the league.
I don't have the record, but it's impressive.
I mean, that's very exciting. That's one to
Yeah.
keep in the back pocket, along with we've got a few sort of like ongoing stories, haven't we, across Europe? So like,
Yeah, I think.
so that's another one to put in the back pocket. Very interesting one.
What do you have for me?
I want to talk about women's football again. A couple of things. So one, in the WSL, I mentioned that it looks like Chelsea 6 years champion, 6-year champion in a row. Looks like they're going to lose their crown. Well, they went to Manchester City this weekend. Manchester City, who are leading the WSL, and Manchester City won 5-1. They absolutely destroyed them. And this is Chelsea, one of the best sides in women's football, especially in the last few years. In fact, to emphasize this, Chelsea were undefeated in domestic football last year, and they've now lost 3 of the last 5 matches. So there is an 11-point gap at the top of the WSL between Manchester City and second place Man United, who are 1 point ahead of Chelsea, who are 1 point ahead of Arsenal, and Arsenal have a game in hand. So actually, there is a possibility that Chelsea might not get Champions League football next year, which would be unthinkable.
Do you think it will happen?
Well, Arsenal, like I say, have a game in hand. It is very much 4 teams fighting for 3 spots, or in this case, Man City should be winning the titles. Therefore, it's 3 teams fighting for 2. Man United seem to be losing a bit of momentum, but then again, Chelsea just don't seem to have momentum at all at the minute. So it really does feel like a bit of a scrabble, bit of a panic to the finishing line. But speaking of Arsenal women's have just been just won the first ever Women's Champions Cup, which is their version of the Intercontinental Cup. So the champions of North America, South America, and everyone comes together. You'd have thought the NWSL sides, Gotham, the North American winners, you would have thought they'd get to the final, but they actually lost to Corinthians in the semi-final. So it was Corinthians against Arsenal, and Arsenal won 3-2 after extra time, which is an excellent game. But yeah, so Arsenal not only are European champions, but they are the first ever women's world club champions.
Okay, that's a good year for English football, with Chelsea winning the Club World Cup, the males.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Arsenal winning the
two
women.
sides. Yeah.
Just to finish with this category of things you may have missed this week, I wanted to drop 2 minor transfers in Ligue 1, which are quite interesting. First, the signing of Ciro Immobile to Paris FC.
Okay.
That's kind of unusual. And the last from Alan Saint-Maximin to Lens after he...
That's a very sad story, isn't it?
Yeah, for those who are not in touch with the history, he had been unfortunately victim of racist insults in Club America, where he was playing in Mexico, and he asked his management to leave the club with immediate effect.
Well, just to add on to that, it wasn't him necessarily. He was saying his daughter.
Yeah, his children. His children.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Hopefully he finds. Is it Lens he signed with?
Yeah.
Well, excellent club to be part of, and hopefully you can add something to us in the season.
And a great addition for us.
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit to the things you may have missed, because just as like ongoing storylines, I thought I'd add to this. So obviously, we've been looking for AVS in Portugal. The only team that the top 10 leagues not to win a match. They lost at home to Braga 4-0. But it did get me thinking about across the rest of Europe. How are there any other leagues where there are teams that have not won a single match? There are 4. There are across the entire all top divisions in the entire of Europe. I checked every single
Poland,
one of them.
I think in Poland no.
Poland, like they've won at least one. I did go through them very quickly. They are obviously Portugal, Andorra, North Macedonia, and Armenia. So all of those leagues have one team that have yet to win a match. But I thought I'd give some credit to AVS, because AVS, they have not won a match. They have 5 points. And they have 5 juicy points. That's 5 draws. And they've scored 14 goals. So, to comparison, I want to take you to the Cypriot league. Oh, there are 5, sorry. The Cypriot league, where Pasalimni, I think they're called, Pasalimni, They played 18 matches this season. Guess how many points they have?
2. Oh my God.
They have 1 point, and they've played 18 matches. Guess how many goals they've scored?
1.
They scored 5 goals in 18 matches and have a single point to their name. So I thought I'd offer that. So AVS, you know what, guys? Keep your chin up, because at least you've seen your team score 14 goals. That's very nice. Which is dream world for them. Right. Okay. So I should have used that as my trivial trivia, but I've got a pretty good one today, which you'll enjoy. I actually think you might know the answer to this. So obviously we've been told by Blue Co that Chelsea and Strasbourg are sort of like sister clubs, brother sister kind of thing. They're basically partners. They rude word. So here's my question to you. This season, which is only 6 months old, 5 months old.
Yeah.
This season, how many deals have been struck between Strasbourg and Chelsea just this season? And for context, we are including Liam Losinier as one.
9 or 10, no?
12. Just
That's
this
okay.
season, there have been 12 deals between Strasbourg playing and coaching. Well, say coaching staff. Liam Rosenior is the only one. But that's 11 playing staff that have been dealt between the two clubs. And the most recent being, is it Mamadou Sarr?
Yeah.
Mamadou Sarr going to Chelsea and Entomino going the other way. But it's so sad because Entomino was having a really good loan at Borussia Dortmund, and he was crying as he left. We're like, no, recall, so we can give you to Strasbourg. So, yeah, I thought I'd throw that one out there. Anything to add before we finish?
No, I just wanted to thank all the people watching the show weekly. Do not hesitate to drop a like, to follow on YouTube and X. And I wanted to wish you a good week.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're a television producer looking for a host, then feel free to contact me on whatever social media, because I don't have it on here because I'd hate it. But the rest of you, have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free, don't forget, in following weeks to send comments, questions as well. We'll sort of read them out on air so long as they're appropriate. But until then, have a wonderful week. Thank you so much, Leo.
Thank you, Daniel. Have a good week too.
And from the European Soccer Show, goodbye for now.
Goodbye all.